Hi, it's Dwyer, gamblersadvisory.com, dwyervip.com. Remember, the opinion you should follow should be your own. Just consider this video to be a second opinion from a complete stranger online. Let's talk about college football. Understand, I'm making this video on July the 20th, 2016. If some injuries or some suspensions take place between now and the regular season, or some turmoil, right? We've already had Baylor's coach step down. If other coaches step down, if there's a scandal, then it'll impact what I'm saying. So I need for you to consider this to be the July 20th edition of my thoughts on the college football season. Now, unlike most gamblers, I personally feel strongly that one of the best ways, if not the best way, to beat the casino is to play futures. Right? Game by game contains a lot of risks. I believe the casinos badly misprice futures. If you're on the right side of the play and you're able to get leverage, you could always hedge the play later. You don't even need to pick the right team. The team you pick just needs to get to a big enough game where you can hedge the play during bowl season. So, right now I believe there's a bad mispricing. The casinos feel that Clemson has a better chance of winning the national title than Florida State. Right? That's simply mind-blowing to me. You're getting longer odds on Florida State. Let me just say, I feel that Florida State has a better chance than Clemson of winning the national title. When they play on October 29th, understand that game is going to be at Florida State. Right? Florida State is going to have the home field advantage when they play. Now, I know Florida State opens the season against Ole Miss, and that's going to be a very tough game. No question about it. But people need to realize, looking at ACC football versus the SEC here, that Ole Miss game is going to take place at Florida State. Right, folks? After the Ole Miss game, Florida State then has teams like Charleston, Louisville, right, that they can literally feast on in preparation for the Clemson game. Understand, too, the week before the Clemson game, in fact, 2 weeks before the Clemson game, October 15th, Florida plays at home against Wake Forest. They'll be at home, right? Eating home cooking, right? Then they have a week off. Then they play Clemson at home. They're going to be ready for that Clemson game, right? You're going to be several weeks removed from the Ole Miss game. So, I know the casino has Clemson with shorter odds to win the national title. Folks, I think that's a mistake. I think Florida State has the inside track to win the ACC over Clemson. I don't understand these odds. If you're thinking ACC football, I hope you consider Florida State as a team out of the ACC, just given the schedule, right, with the best chance to win the national championship. Certainly the best chance to win the conference, right? I know Deshaun Watson, Clemson's quarterback, is an excellent player. I know Clemson was in the championship game last year. Folks, that was last year, right? We're not going back years. If you go back far enough, you're going to find out that Jameis Winston won a national title for Jimbo Fisher at Florida State. Let's not fall too in love with past years. I think Florida State is mispriced. Let's talk about the whole thing, right? Let's talk about teams that have the best shot of winning the national championship. I think one of the problems people have is they confuse your chances of winning the national championship with a different question altogether on whether you're the best team. Right? That's not the way to think about it. Because you could be the best team but have a schedule that's so brutal, that's so difficult, that it takes you out of the running. This is college football. Right? The best team doesn't always win. Now, what I want people to do is to look at Alabama. Folks, they're on the road against Ole Miss. They're on the road against Arkansas. They're on the road against LSU. Right? This is a team that's going to have a very tough time keeping an unblemished record, aren't they? What I want people to do is to look at a different team. I believe this team is mispriced. This team might not be the best team out there, but this team, in my opinion, has a better shot at the national championship. And that's the Oklahoma Sooners. Right? Think about it now. They have their quarterback returning, Mayfield. Right? They, unlike Baylor, they have their coach returning, Bob Stoops. Let's look at their schedule. Sure, they play Ohio State, third game of the season. How many guys from Ohio State got picked in the first round of last year's NFL draft? Are you sure that Ohio State on the road at Oklahoma is going to be ready to play the Oklahoma Sooners with a team that, quite frankly, was depleted because of their elite talent last year? Right? Would it surprise you to know that that's the third consecutive home game? I know they play Houston in a neutral site. Well, okay, let's throw out the neutral site game. This will be the second consecutive home game that Oklahoma plays. Right? Oklahoma's going to be ready for this game, folks. The week before, they play Louisiana Monroe. Dare I say, they're probably going to use that game to boost their confidence. Right? Would it surprise you to know that Oklahoma plays Baylor at home? Let's face it, too. Baylor has too much going on, doesn't it? Right? The coach resigned. The relationship of the athletes to the student body has been questioned. When you look at it, right, dare I say, Oklahoma has a shorter path to winning the Big 12 than Alabama has to winning the SEC. You're getting great odds right now, great odds on the Oklahoma Sooners. Right? My point to you is, if you look at the schedules, if you look at the continuity, right, Oklahoma's going to be a very hard team to beat this year, especially if they knock off Ohio State early. I think Oklahoma is mispriced. I think Oklahoma, probably of all the teams I've researched, probably has the best path to the Final Four. Right? Teams like Stanford, wow, could their schedule possibly be more difficult early in the season? Right? When you look at the Pac-12 too, understand that you have guys who may not be household names nationally, who are among the best quarterbacks in the NCAA, right? You need to think of the Pac-12 as the quarterbacks conference, right? Just look around the NFL. Aaron Rodgers, Pac-12. Carson Palmer, Pac-12. Right? Even Mark Sanchez, Pac-12. This is a conference that throws the football around. I'm just here to tell you that Luke Falk at Washington State and Josh Rosen at UCLA are two of the best quarterbacks in all of college football. All of college football. Right? This Pac-12 is going to be tough. The Stanford Cardinal, unfortunately, and I'm a Stanford guy, the Stanford Cardinal, unfortunately, has a very rough schedule early in the season. I don't think they have the clear line to the Final Four, right? The NCAA football playoff that Oklahoma does, right? Again, my goal here is not to pick the best team. Rather, it's to pick the winning team, right? I think the schedule lines up well for the Oklahoma Sooners. So in summation, the 2 points I'm trying to get across here are: one, if you're looking at the ACC and you're wondering what's the betting value in the ACC, in my opinion, it's Florida State, right? I think right now you're getting longer odds on Florida State than you are Clemson. I think the public's in love with Clemson because of last year and because of Deshaun Watson. I think the fact that Florida State actually gets to play Clemson at Florida State looms large. I like Florida State's schedule. I think the longer odds are worth the play on who wins the ACC there. If you're looking at the national title, I think Florida State has to be in the mix. More importantly, though, I think Oklahoma has the inside track. I know that's not what Crimson Tide fans want to hear, but Oklahoma has the easier schedule. Right? They have the easier schedule. And, in my opinion, Mayfield is an underrated quarterback. That's how I see it. Let me hear from you. I hope you leave your comments in the comment section to this video so all of us could read them as part of our quest to beat the casino. Thanks for stopping by.